residents 55 and older with employment opportunities through FCCAA. So stop by the Farmers Market Fun Day on Wednesday, June 25th from 10 to 2. Myself, Josh Krysak, and Matt Sapienza will be broadcasting live from 11 to 1 with our own great prizes and giveaways. We hope to see you there. For more details, call 724-430-3012, extension 3284, or email smahokey@fccaa.org.
The summer's here, so why not treat yourself to fun at Walnut Hill Mini Golf, now open Tuesday through Sunday from noon to 9. Enjoy the golf and their frozen custards and drinks. They are simply the best. They were voted one of the best family fun centers in Fayette County. Walnut Hill Mini Golf is located a half-mile south of the Uniontown Shop and Save. Call 724-437-3005. Visit walnuthillminiaturegolf.com or like them on Facebook. They're open Tuesday through Sunday, noon to 9, and they're still for sale.
Bright Stripe, Bay County's premier asphalt seal coating professionals. Locally owned by Matt and Lexi George. Bright Stripe specializes in residential and commercial asphalt seal coating, also excelling in line striping and layouts, thermoplastic, and infrared asphalt repair. Bright Stripe has succeeded due to their commitment to quality work for 30 years. Bright Stripe, 724-437-6090, or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com.
Stays compass. I got no direction now. I'm gonna find my way somehow. Barely on this tightrope. I'm stuck in between the here and now, and I'm trying to figure out.
And now we welcome Wendy O'Brien from Proden and O'Brien Law Firm and Josh Krysak from WMBS for a couple of things with Wendy and Josh.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, Wendy. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
It's always funny because when we start the show, we act like we haven't been talking for like the last 15 minutes.
Yeah,
so.
I know.
But anyway, welcome to everyone who's joining us for another edition of A Couple of Things with Wendy and Josh. We did move up a day today, so usually we're on Thursdays, the second Thursday of the month from 3:15 to 4. We moved up a day today to meet some schedule needs, but you can always remember to tune in, and we talk about all things law and law related. But remember, if you need legal advice and an attorney, go get one.
Go get one. This is not meant to be legal advice, just sort of some guidance and information, maybe to get you started, maybe to get you thinking, maybe to get you moving on what you actually need to be doing. Like today's topic.
Today's topic, which is an exciting one, I think, because it's something that if it hasn't impacted you already, it's going to impact you at some point. You're going to need to know the ins and outs of it. And we are going to be talking about estate planning.
Estate planning, the greatest gift you can give your family. Number one, hands down, the best gift you can give them is planning your estate out so they don't have to worry about it once you're gone.
So when you say the greatest gift, what is something that you tend to see happen that keeps that from being a great gift? So someone passes away. What happens if they don't have it planned out?
It's not even so much as passing away yet. Just if you get sick, if you can't take care of your own affairs, if God forbid you get diagnosed with dementia or something, your family's the one left to, figure things out for you.
Right.
And without direction. Where with just a little bit of pre-planning and a little bit of work on your end,
right,
you can do that for them and prevent them from years of heartache, costs, expenses, fighting amongst the family. It's just so much better. I've seen it both ways. I promise. It's a little bit of legwork on your part now could save a lot of heartache for your family in the future.
And it may not seem like heartache while you're thinking about it right this moment, but what happens is, like you were saying, they get into that situation where one person may remember that they want something this way. Yeah. Another person remembers it a different way.
Yeah.
You have those conflicting ideas, and there's no source of truth.
No, and I can't tell you how many times I've met with families where they have the conversation, but Mom wanted this. Well, Mom may have wanted that. She may have told all of you that, but there's nothing in writing that's legally binding and enforceable with a court of law to make sure it happens that way. If one person doesn't agree that that's what Mom wanted, then we have to follow what's called the rules of intestacy, which we'll talk about
Okay.
today quite a bit.
All right. So if we're talking about estate planning, what are the things, when someone uses that as a broad term,
Yes.
what are the things that go into estate planning?
So basic estate planning would include a last will and testament,
Okay.
a power of attorney, and this could be a power of attorney for medical issues, and another one, or it can be the same one, for financial issues,
Okay.
and a living will / advance directive. So basically, what if I'm in these conditions? What do I want to have feed tubing? Do I want to
Okay.
have, a transplant? Do I want these kinds of things, or do I not?
Yeah.
So we can talk about all those more specifically.
Okay.
But that's basic estate planning, or are those 3 basic documents?
And I think, so one of the things, too, I would imagine, and I'm sure you deal with it as well, there's probably some stigma around it, a lot like there
Yeah.
is with organ donation.
Good, yeah.
You just don't want to talk about these things.
That's the
Is that true?
number one complaint
Yeah.
I get when somebody comes into my office and sits down. They feel so awkward and say, I know I'm probably too young to be here, but I just want to get a will in place. And I always say, you're never too young to
Yeah.
be here, to get a will, to get your estate affairs in place. I promise.
Right.
Because you're not promised tomorrow. You and I both know that.
Right.
We've experienced that in our lives. No one's promised tomorrow.
That's
So
right.
Get your affairs in order now.
Right. And obviously, we all live our day to day. There's a much better chance you're going to be just fine the next day.
Yes.
There is a much better chance. But if you can do this, it takes that off your plate.
Yeah.
It's not like something you have to think about every day. You
Yep.
get it taken care of,
Yep.
and then it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's go through it. So
Okay.
who needs one? Everyone. What are some of the things, though, specifically that people need to think about when they start the process of, I need to get some of these things done?
My short answer for who needs a will, who needs a power of attorney, who needs a living will is everybody. But there are certain times in your life where they become extremely necessary, and probably you need to move on it. The elderly, you should have these things in place, and if you don't, it's time.
Yeah.
If your spouse passes away, it's time. You
Yeah.
need to get this in place and get a will, get a power of attorney, and get your living will advance directive. If you're sick, if you unfortunately get diagnosed with something, it's time. Get your affairs in
Right.
order, because then you and your family can focus on
That's
you
right.
and your health care.
That's right.
And not worry about what's going to happen down the road.
And again, that just because you're being proactive doesn't mean that you're helping to further along your potential death. Without me being too blunt about it,
Yes, you're
you
right.
may still make
Yeah.
a full recovery.
Yep.
But then guess what? You've got all that legwork out of the way.
I also think it's very important for people that are going through a divorce
Okay.
that they should have their affairs in order, because you're already knowing you're going through a divorce, separating from your spouse. So the worst thing that could happen is if you die during the process and then your spouse still gets everything.
Yeah.
You already have basically established grounds for divorce and separation, maybe even living apart, and you pass away and your spouse is still going to receive everything. You don't want that to happen.
Right.
So that's a good time to think about getting a new will in place, or
Okay.
revise your will.
And what about people with kids?
100%. If you have children, you should have a will. If you have, God forbid, you and your spouse are in a car accident and you're both killed, what's going to happen to your children?
Right.
I'm sure some family member, if you're lucky, is going to step up and, help out. But what happens if, this is the conversation my husband and I always had, like, what if I passed away? I want my sister to take care of our children, and he wanted his sister to take
Right.
care of our children. So what's going to happen, if we both die together? Essentially, there could be a war.
Yeah.
Amongst our in-laws.
And you definitely don't want that.
No. Of who's going to take care of children. So your will can set up a guardianship, who you want to take care of your children if something happens to you.
An interesting one here, too. The last, I do get the cheat sheet from
Yeah.
Wendy. But no remaining known relatives. So why would it be good for someone to do that if they have no remaining known relatives?
So we'll talk about this definitely a little later on with the rules of intestacy, but
Okay.
essentially, if you have no relatives, the state gets your assets.
Yeah.
The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is your beneficiary.
So why not
So-
leave it to someone that you care about,
Or-
even if it's not a relative?
Even if it's not a relative,
Or
may-
charity.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
We can set up, a charity distribution to
Yeah.
something you care about, your church,
Right.
your old school. They'll be happy to take your money.
Absolutely. And then it's going to something that you cared about when you were alive.
Yeah, the Community Foundation, I'll give them a little shout out. I know they'll work with us as well in charity designations and wills. They'll help a lot. So
That's awesome.
There's options.
Yeah.
But just if you are in any of those situations, it is well past time to get a will and get your affairs in order.
Right. So when we're talking about getting the will together, what is included in a last will and testament?
Yeah, so some of the things you would want to put in your will, of course, are what are your burial instructions? Because, I've seen families where people have passed away and someone runs and gets them cremated, and then the other family member says they didn't want to be cremated. Hello, this is a great way, if you feel strongly one way or the other about cremation, which a lot of people do based on their religious background.
Yep.
Put it in your will. Then everybody knows I don't want to be cremated, or I do want to be cremated.
Yeah.
I want to be buried with my great grandma at this cemetery where I have this plot, or whatever you do. Don't bury me, with my ex-husband where I have a plot. I don't want to go there.
That name can stay there.
Yeah.
I'm not going there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is the one chance and opportunity you have to speak beyond the grave.
Yeah.
To say what you want.
Right.
And burial is a big one. And funeral arrangements. A lot of people don't want a big funeral. Maybe they just want, just a quiet little family session at the funeral home.
Mm-hmm.
We can put all that in your will. And that's a directive.
And again, I think that's something that anybody, once you reach a certain age, you have had to go through some funeral planning.
Yeah.
We all have had to do it. And there is always some guesswork if there's not a will.
Yeah, there is.
And it's not always that much fun because you're trying to do your best, but someone else that you care about may have a completely different recollection of what that person wanted.
100%. And I mean, unfortunately, when there's more than one person involved, there's an opportunity for conflict.
Yep.
And the worst thing is a conflict during a funeral.
You don't want it.
Nobody wants that. We want to grieve over you. We don't want to fight over where you're getting buried. So let's solve that problem for your beneficiaries.
Yeah. So before we go any further,
Yes.
Wendy and Josh, a couple of things with Wendy and Josh.
Yes.
Wendy O'Brien from Proden and O'Brien. If people are looking to get in touch with you, what's the easiest way for them to find Proden and O'Brien?
Well, we have a website, prodenlaw.com. You can call us 724-437-3484. We also have an office right beside the courthouse. We're 2 buildings up on Main Street, 99 East Main.
There you go. I just made sure, we want to make sure we're plugging Wendy because, she's got a lot of knowledge. So if you are thinking about somebody you need to talk to, and I know her partner as well, Jeff is a great guy.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, absolutely.
And we also have an associate with us, Sean Lemitowski.
Sean Lemitowski. So you got 3 options,
Yep.
but they definitely can take care of you. So the next thing we see is the distribution of assets. And I think this is what a lot of people think of right away when they're thinking about wills.
Yeah, and a lot of people think if I don't care who gets my stuff, I don't need a will, but that's not true. You do need a will, even if you don't care how your stuff is distributed. But I have seen so many times where I have a family come in and they say, well, Mom put Post-it notes all over the house that she's getting this china cabinet,
Right.
she's getting this, and she's getting this bowl, and
Do those hold up?
no, those
Okay.
don't hold up. So your Post-it notes are nice if your whole family's getting along.
Yeah, if
and
everyone
they're-
agrees. Yeah.
but the Post-it note on the diamond ring that's 15 carats big, and it's going to be worth $100,000. Guess what? We're fighting over that Post-it note.
Yeah, I got
so
you.
put it in the will.
Yeah.
So guns are a big thing people fight about a
Okay.
lot, because there's old antique guns, and I wanted the gun. He promised me the gun.
Yeah.
Put it in the will.
Yeah.
Cars. People argue about cars quite a bit. I was supposed to get the car. He said I could have it.
Yeah.
That's nice he said that.
Yeah, no, I remember a little bit of contention. A little personal story. My grandfather, when he passed away, he actually pitched for the Pittsburgh Pirates organization early 1950s. He had a baseball that was pretty important that he had intended for me. No one, but thankfully everyone agreed.
Yeah.
But I could have seen something like that. It was a baseball that had been signed by some people and stuff like that. But yeah, those kind of things, especially the family heirloom stuff that have been passed down, you think it'll all go well until it doesn't.
Exactly. It's just so much easier to put it in writing.
Yeah. What else goes into the will?
Yeah, a few other things. You have to designate payment of your last expenses. I know a lot of people, especially people that plan their estate, they feel very strongly that they want their affairs in order. After they pass, please pay my bills off.
Yes.
So pay off all my last, funeral costs, my medical expenses, pay off the mortgage, and then distribute my assets to my beneficiaries.
Right.
So that's one thing. Designation of an executor.
Okay.
This is key. I actually met with a family recently where it's a family from a divorced couple that got together, and they both had marriage children, and then they had children together. So we're talking 3 different sets of children.
Okay.
And no will, and we have, who's going to be the executor. So it was a big fight. So at the end of the day, if nobody can agree on who's going to be the executor, we have to leave it up to the court. We have to have a hearing.
Wow.
Everybody has to come to court. They have
So
to
that's a
testify.
really important piece.
It is. Your past comes out to haunt you. Do you have a DUI? Guess what? That's going to be thrown in the courtroom, and the judge is probably not going to consider you because you have a past criminal history. Assuming there's another person that doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's just easier to work this out ahead of time. If you know, Bobby Sue took care of you all the time and will take care of your affairs and will definitely do everything right by all your children, then pick Bobby Sue to do it.
Have you ever seen an instance where the executor defies what the people think should happen though?
Oh, absolutely. There's a recent case I had where we had to challenge the executor. She was appointed by will.
Yes.
And it took about 8 years. She had done nothing.
Okay.
Including sell the property.
Okay.
So on behalf of the other beneficiaries, we had to petition the court to ask for her to be removed, which is not an easy thing to do.
I bet, because it was in there.
And we had, I think the judge scheduled 3 or 4 hearings on it. But at the end of the day, he did find that she was not doing her job.
Right.
And he did remove her.
Because I would imagine that would be potentially a fear for people if they were part of an estate or a will that was pretty significant, and they named an executor that maybe they, what if that person was nefarious all of a sudden and they decided they should have the lion's share of stuff.
Yeah.
So I would imagine those things are also litigated.
It definitely happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that case, she was selling off assets, but not depositing anything into the bank accounts to show for selling off the assets.
Yep.
So, we didn't know that. We suspected it.
Yes.
But once we got into the case and got discovery and were able to look at the bank accounts and follow the records and the transactions, we could see.
Yeah.
Money, it's traceable.
Yeah.
You'll find
And this is why it's never wrong to consult an attorney.
Yeah.
If you're involved in one of these situations, even if you're not the primary party, but you have a vested interest in it. And I think that, and maybe you can speak to this, it's kind of off topic, but if someone just reaches out to you with questions, it's not always astronomical fees.
No.
You're trying to help guide them.
That's a good point. Yeah. I know our office, we charge an initial consultation fee for you to come in and talk about what's going on.
Right.
And it's not a lot. It's probably less than you think.
And it's helping to get them headed in the right direction.
And you're not committed. Obviously that's not your fee for going to court challenging a will or appointment of an executor. But we can talk about what that would look like, and you can make the decision then. Do I want to pay additional money and move forward with this, or do I think there's not a lot of merit to my argument and I'm just going to leave it at the consultation, but at least you have some answers.
Yeah, so it's always a good idea when in doubt to give someone a call and just kind of vet it through them at least.
Yep.
And then also appointment of guardian for minor children. That seems like an important one,
which
though, too.
We touched on a little bit. If you have children in your will, you need to appoint who do you want to take
are
care
they
of your
going
children.
to?
At the end of the day, if there's a battle for it, there could end up being a custody battle over your children with your family members.
Right, absolutely.
And ultimately, that doesn't stop the state from getting involved. CYS could step in and take custody of the children if there's no proper person to supervise.
Well,
that's
that's good information to have too.
Yeah.
Because it's just another reason why the onus is on you to do something.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want is that.
No, you don't want your kids to go to foster care when they have an aunt that would be happy to take them in.
Right. And the only reason they can't is because you didn't tell them it was okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes good sense. So I got to say, this next question down here, I don't know why, but when I first read it, I loved it. Who can I disinherit? That list is long for me, and it's no family. I'm just teasing. So talk about that a little bit.
So I always get that question. I've had spouses come in and say, how do I write my will to disinherit my spouse? And I'm like, are you divorced? Are you going through a divorce? Are you separated? Nope. I just don't want them to inherit anything.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You learn a lot about human nature and dynamics.
Yes. Well, the short answer is you can't fully disinherit your spouse.
Okay.
You can limit what they receive, but there is something in Pennsylvania that protects a spouse.
Well, they should be protected.
Yeah.
You and I talked about this a little bit before,
Yeah.
too. I mean, they have put in time and effort into that relationship, whether
Yep.
it's all been sunny and roses or
Yeah,
not. That's
probably not, but yeah.
That's not the point.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they have a right to take what's called a spousal election against your will, even if you say, I don't want my spouse to receive anything. And that spousal election is typically, it's up to a third of your estate. They can take. And the court will grant it to them.
Wow.
A third of the value of your estate.
And is it just disinherit spouses, or can you disinherit others as well?
Okay, so the other touchy subject is children. Can you disinherit your children?
So you got a kid that you don't like.
Yeah,
Somebody
can,
grew up to be a
yeah, maybe you have 5 children and one of them took off.
has
and
written you off.
Yeah, you haven't seen them since, I don't know,
Yeah.
1985. Yeah, you can disinherit them, but you have to specifically say that in your
Okay.
will. If you just leave them out, they can challenge it. You have to say, I specifically disinherit, John Doe from this will. He should not receive anything.
Okay.
And that then makes it very powerful. The court is very
Right.
clear at your intentions. It wasn't just a mistake. You didn't forget his name. Your attorney didn't make a typo.
So here's the next question for you. Well, one of the things we talked about last time that was really interesting to me was when a group of siblings can come together and say, this person's not pulling their weight helping take care of mom who's sick. Can a group of siblings come together and say, hey, Johnny hasn't been part of this family for the last 40 years. Does that ever happen?
Yes.
Okay.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like he shouldn't get something.
Absolutely.
And then what happens when that happens? What do they do? Do they file something, or how do they?
So, I mean, it's going to depend on if there's a will or not a will.
Right.
If there is a will and Johnny's listed in the will,
Then he gets it.
He gets it. If there's not a will and he's a biological child or an adopted child, because adopted is, just because you're adopted doesn't mean you don't get to inherit. That's still your parent.
Right.
He would still inherit.
Okay.
Despite what everybody else says is true.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
no way to disinherit him except by an actual written document from the decedent.
Okay.
That very clearly disinherits them.
Yeah, that's very interesting
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm sure that you kind of go down rabbit holes with that stuff too, and
Oh, yeah.
you learn so much about those family dynamics and stuff
Yeah,
too. So
it's sometimes it was funny. My secretary came in the office this morning reviewing my notes, and she's like, "What is this?" And I had like a circle with all these lines going off, and I said, "Oh, I was drawing a hierarchy for in this, interstate inheritance on this because this person died without a will. So I had to try to, tell
were
them
creating
how
a diagram.
Yeah, how they're going to inherit because there were so many layers of it.
yeah, that's unbelievable.
So interesting.
So that's interesting because you said hierarchy of inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when there is not a will?
All right, so it's all if this, then that. So
Okay.
we'll start with if you have a spouse.
Okay.
If you have a spouse and you do not have any children
Okay.
or issue, is what we call it in the law, and you don't have any living parents, then your spouse will inherit your entire estate.
Okay.
If you have a spouse and you have parents that are living but no children,
Okay.
then, and I don't want to screw this up,
Yeah.
the spouse will get the first $30,000 and half of your remaining estate, and your parents will get half of the other half of your remaining estate. So isn't that interesting?
That is
That
extremely
your parents
interesting.
will inherit
Your parents or something. Yeah, that is interesting.
half from your spouse even.
Right.
And then if you do have surviving children, all of whom are issue of your spouse, so that means they're also your spouse's children.
Okay.
So they're not from a previous marriage or something. They're your spouse's children too. Your spouse will get the first $30,000 and half the balance, and your children gets the other half of the balance.
Okay. What if they are not issue of your surviving
Question.
spouse? Yeah.
So if they are not, then your spouse gets half the estate, and your children get half the estate.
So the spouse that your spouse gets half.
Yep.
The other half gets divided amongst all of your children.
Among your children. Yep.
Whoever they were
Yeah,
to.
if you have 6 children, they're going 6
to
ways.
3 different people, they're still
Yes, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so that's interesting too, and it kind of helps protect those kids that maybe weren't a part of that last relationship, but still were your child.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So okay.
So let's talk about if you don't have a spouse.
Okay.
No spouse, but you have children. Your
Okay.
children are inheriting.
Okay.
And they'll each get, percentage, however many there are. So if
Okay.
there's 5 children, they're each getting a fifth.
I got it. Okay.
If you don't have children, then it goes to your parents, living parents.
Okay.
Okay? If you have 2 parents that are
That's
living,
interesting, yeah.
they split it.
Yeah.
If you don't have any living parents, then it goes to your brothers and sisters,
Okay.
which could include, if you don't have living brothers and sisters, it would go to your nieces and nephews.
Oh wow. So
Yeah.
so it's a trickle down from that
It is.
point too. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Neat, huh?
Yeah, it is neat.
All right, so this one is always interesting to me, and in 22 years, I have not seen this happen.
Okay.
But no children, no spouse, no children, no parents,
Yes.
no brothers, sisters, or nieces.
Okay.
Grandparents now get next.
Okay. Yeah, that would be hard because a lot of times you would think they may not be
They
still
might not
living.
be alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it'd be unlikely, I think, but I've not seen that happen.
Wow. Okay. So then, but there's still another layer past
Yeah,
that.
even after after grandparents, then it would be your uncles and aunts
Okay.
and their children and grandchildren. Wow. Yeah. So,
And then-
so you can see why I was drawing a diagram.
You had to.
Yes, because we had to figure out who was what and
Yeah, and then at
What's
the
that?
very end, the very back end, which I still say, again, nothing against the state of Pennsylvania. I think that you want to guard against that
Yeah.
in general. It goes to the state.
yep. Next level is to the state.
So, and, I don't know anybody who wants to give up everything that they've earned and done through their life back to the state. There's got to be a neighbor or a church or a family or somebody that matters to you
Somebody.
if it's not if
Yeah.
you don't have family.
if not, Josh is available.
I'm here.
He'll take your.
That's right. Wendy will take it too. Don't let her fool you. She's got to pay for those nails. We'll have our nail conversation at the end of the day. But it's a perfect time. It's a couple of things with Josh and Wendy. Wendy O'Brien from Proden and O'Brien. We are talking about all things estate planning, and we are deep into it now.
Yep.
So the next bullet point on your maze, I'm telling you, I feel like I'm back in college. It's perfect. Protecting.
Keeps us on point.
It does
Josh.
keep us on point. We do a great job.
Yeah.
So if we didn't have it, we would go down. We would fall down those
we
holes.
Probably
So
would. Yeah.
all right, protecting assets.
Okay, so it's so easy to do to keep it out of an estate if you can, because that saves attorney's fees, it saves inheritance taxes, it saves paying all the court costs to open an estate and probate and advertise, which all add up. It's
Yes.
not cheap.
Yes.
How about have a beneficiary designee on everything?
Okay.
And please, if you go through a divorce, if your spouse dies, if any change in life circumstances happen to you, double check your beneficiary designees on life insurance,
Okay.
on your pension,
Yes.
on your bank accounts, anything that you your annuities. Make sure you have. If you have an option to do a beneficiary designee, do it.
Yeah.
And make sure it's who you want to get it.
Yeah.
Now, with that in mind, I will
Okay.
caution you. If you have 5 children
Yeah.
and you put your oldest on as the beneficiary, thinking, oh, she will definitely share with everybody, they have no legal obligation
To do so.
share that money with anybody.
So they might because you think you know them, and they might, but they might not.
I can't tell you how many times I've met with clients who have been like, how do I get her to pay my fifth of what she owes me from the life insurance policy? You don't.
You can't.
It's a legal contract that you make with your life insurance company that they are obligated to pay one person and one person only, and that is your beneficiary.
Wow.
Now you could put 5 people on as your beneficiaries.
Yeah.
Like have all 5 of your children
You
listed.
can do that?
You can do that, yes.
And then the court would automatically distribute that equally,
Yep.
unless you otherwise.
Yeah.
What if you noted 50% to Junior and 25 and 25 to the other two?
You can do that.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Your life insurance company can do that.
Okay.
Don't let them tell you they can't. 'Cause
Okay.
They can definitely. Your beneficiary designation is so important, and then it keeps it out of probate.
Understood.
Meaning they don't have to open an estate. They never have to go to court.
This brings me, so again, on topic, but slightly out of where we are right now. So you watch a movie or a TV show, and you see somebody who has handwritten the last will and testament. They have even said it's their last will and testament,
this
and
guy-
they've signed
yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What does that hold weight in court? What kind of weight does it hold?
You might as well put it through the shredder because it holds no weight at all.
Okay.
And that's assuming you have somebody
Contesting.
it.
So if no one contests, if it's, say there's only 3 people involved, and they all know that this was definitely written by Mr. X.
Yes.
And they all say, yes, I agree with that. Then it could actually play
yeah,
out.
If all the true beneficiaries, the beneficiaries under law that are going to inherit in accordance with the rules of intestacy agree that even though I would have gotten, a third of this, I know she was going to get the house, and that's what Mom wanted.
Yes.
We can write that up. It has to be by contract. We have to record it, so nobody can ever come back and challenge it.
Right.
But yes,
so it can happen.
It
but
can
it's
be done.
not a smart way to go about it.
But if you want that to happen, then you have to make sure it's written up as a legal binding will.
Yes. Okay. And that's where you need to consult with an attorney.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's where we come in.
It makes good sense.
And, I mean, it literally, you could be in and out of the office in 15 minutes. If you really needed, something to make sure it was legally binding. It could not take that long.
That brings us to another piece of it that people, it's a hot button issue. Taxes. Inheritance taxes are a thing. So break that down for me. How does that work?
So many states don't have, they got rid of the inheritance tax, but Pennsylvania's not one of them, unfortunately.
Okay.
You're going to pay inheritance taxes on what you receive from your decedent, from your parent or whomever passed away. Spouses are inheriting at 0% in Pennsylvania.
So they are actually basically exempt.
Yep, they're exempt.
Okay.
Children issue are 4.5%.
Okay. So at least it's somewhat manageable. You're not. I mean, it could be worse.
It could
you
be
see
worse.
what some of the percentages on things are now. So 4.5 for a kid isn't too bad.
Yeah, it hurts a little bit when you have to write that check out to the Department of Revenue, but it's doable.
Okay.
The big one though is once you get to siblings and like other heirs, like aunts and uncles, siblings are 12%.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big jump from 4.5.
That's a big chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then other heirs are 15%.
Okay.
Other heirs including, like, say you have a live-in girlfriend or boyfriend,
sure.
And you give everything to them in your will.
Yeah.
15% they're paying.
Oh,
so there are ways, if we can, let's avoid probate for them. If you're going to put their name on everything anyway, let's work on that now.
Yeah.
We can put their name on the house or put their name on the car as joint tenants.
Okay.
There's some things we can do.
So there are things you can do in advance to trim that number down.
Trim it down.
Yeah.
It's not going to ever go away completely, but we can reduce it.
The government's going to get there.
Absolutely.
And then I see here that says federal $13.99 million. What is that?
Yeah. So hopefully you won't have to pay federal inheritance taxes. I don't know. Maybe you'd want to. I guess if I'm going to inherit $14 million.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
I wouldn't be so upset.
Yeah, I'll put that down now.
Yeah. So any inheritance over $13.99 million, you're paying federal inheritance tax too.
Okay.
So you'll pay state and federal.
So once you hit a threshold, the federal government's going to come for their money too.
Under that amount, you're exempt from federal inheritance tax.
All right. So and here's another one: Slayer's share.
Yeah, I love that. So. And some people don't know this, and I've actually had this twice. This has come up in my estate work. There's an act called the Slayer's Share Act, which means if you happen to be found responsible for the death of the decedent.
Oh wow! So it really does mean Slayer in this case.
Yes, it does.
I thought maybe it was a last name from a case.
Nope.
Okay.
And even if you're named in their will to receive everything, you aren't getting anything.
Okay.
And I mean,
that makes good sense.
Some Netflix shows and
stuff.
Yeah, it does make sense. But isn't that crazy? It has to be a law, though. Like,
it is crazy, but it does protect you too.
And I've seen it twice. I've had to use that act twice to eliminate and get the beneficiaries removed from a will.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's something else.
Yep.
The fact that they were still attempting to try to claim.
Yes.
Even though they were responsible for the death.
Absolutely.
Holy cow.
And then recently there's also a new one, the Elder Abuse
And that's hot. That's
too.
Hot topic right
Absolutely.
now too.
I think that's a great one to have. That if you are found to have abused an elder, but you're named in their will, you are not going to receive anything in their will. You get zero.
And I think that's exceptionally important as
do
well.
too.
Even more, the Slayer one is like you said, it's almost crazy that it has to be a law.
Yeah.
The other one is, I think, a really good protection in there.
Yep.
Because the last thing we want to see happen is elders
What was that
be
big
abused.
one? The Menendez brothers, right?
Oh my gosh.
That they weren't going to inherit because they were responsible for their parents' death.
Right.
That's the whole reason they killed them. I
know, and now they're back in the
Yeah.
news trying to get free and.
Yeah.
I don't know. You and I both enjoy true crime, and
Yes,
I
we
kind of
do.
went down that rabbit hole with them, and I have
I did
no
too.
clue. I've got no clue what these guys are about. I don't want to know them necessarily. I can't tell you whether they're guilty or not. I think they did it, but whether there was abuse there or not, all that kind of stuff, I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of mental health issues associated
Absolutely.
with what they lived through, but
It was
I don't
rough.
know that rises to a level as an excuse.
Well,
but
no, you can't just kill people because things are bad.
Yeah.
You got to find another way out. So,
Yep.
yeah, I mean that's a sad story overall. I mean, we've kind of glorified it in this country, and we're part of that problem because it's interesting.
It is. Yeah.
But
Feeding
it is
into it.
sad
It
ultimately.
is, yeah.
So,
So they under the Slayers Act will get nothing because they were
Which
ultimately responsible for their parents' death.
is appropriate. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes good sense.
Yep.
All right, so that brings us to power of attorney. It's a phrase that we use a lot.
Yes. So what is a power of attorney?
Yeah.
So basically, a power of attorney is a document that allows your agent, whom you select as your agent, to act as if they are you in all of your affairs, meaning banking, insurance, purchasing houses, selling property, buying cars,
Yeah.
hiring attorneys, accountants,
Okay.
filing tax returns. They can do anything that you can do. They can go to the bank, show them your power of attorney, withdraw everything in the bank, and walk out the door.
So when you name a power of attorney, you need to name someone you trust.
Absolutely. And I tell people that repeatedly.
Yeah.
And I don't take this lightly. When someone comes to me and says they want to do a power of attorney and it's not an immediate relative,
Yeah. You see red flags right
I
away.
see a lot of red flags.
It doesn't. I know you well enough to know it doesn't
Yeah.
mean that once you do some digging, you're not going to say, okay, that's right, it's good.
Yes.
But
yeah.
just right away, you're
I'm
like,
gonna
okay, I
ask
got to make
questions.
sure.
Yeah, I'm going to ask questions. We're going to go through a long colloquy. I'm going to make you think about it. You're going to come back another day. We're going to not sign it immediately. We're going to talk about this.
Like a waiting period for a handgun.
Because it's not something that should be taken lightly.
Yeah.
Because I have been on the other end where I have a relative that's come in and a power of attorney has taken everything from their poor, dementia-ridden mother,
Yep.
and they have not. And actually, we just saw that on the news. Someone just got arrested in.
Oh yeah.
Was it Westmoreland County?
Yeah. No, I just heard it on the news too. We had it
Yeah.
on our news.
Yeah, for doing that exact thing. They
Yeah.
had a power of attorney and took everything.
So, what's the
so-
difference between power of attorney and guardianship?
Good question. So a power of attorney is basically you while you have your own mind and you're able to make decisions, make that choice. I want, my son Gavin to be my power of attorney.
Right.
And I want him, I'll appoint him as my agent. But if I'm then diagnosed with dementia and I don't have a power of attorney in place, I still can't write out my bills. I still can't, make decisions with my doctor or my lawyer. And my son can't do it for me because he doesn't have a power of attorney.
Right.
He has to actually go to court and get a guardianship action done.
Okay.
And it's costly. It's expensive. I mean, it can be done. We do it all the time. The court, there's a process. It doesn't take that long, probably like 45 to 60 days.
Yeah.
We can get through the
But
process.
it's not ideal.
It's not ideal, and it costs them money.
So if somebody out there needed a power of attorney, say they were diagnosed, they're sick, or they know that they're declining.
Yeah.
What do they do? Well, like, that's just a simple question. Like, okay, well, I know I need to give my daughter this power. How do I do it?
Yep. You call our office. You set an appointment. I
Yep.
need a power of attorney. We'll bring
And
you in.
so it's pretty standard how it works.
Yes, very standard.
Like, they don't have to feel like they're not going to have to, it's not going to be a huge, long, drawn out
No,
thing.
no.
You're going to come in, you're going to present the case to you guys, you're going to help explain
Yep.
it. Forms are going to be filed,
Yep,
signed.
we'll go through it with them. And you can make decisions on what powers you actually want to give them.
So you can actually get into the
Correct.
details of
yeah.
it too.
Do you want them to have all powers, like medical decision making, as well as financial decision making, or do you want to give your daughter medical and your
Yeah.
son financial?
I think sometimes too, and I don't know if, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of times these things start out once folks do get to a certain age, they'll add like their oldest child onto their banking. Just they'll add them to
Yeah.
their account. That's like a first step
Yes,
almost.
it is.
Like, I'm not able to get to the bank all the time. I still know what I want to do with my money, but I'm going to
Yeah.
put you on there.
It's not a bad idea.
Right, and that's like maybe a first step kind
Yep.
of thing.
But
So,
again, if you do that, remember when you die, that bank account becomes that
There-
child's
that's
money.
right.
Your other kids,
So be careful.
They don't get any of it.
It doesn't
So-
mean you shouldn't or can't,
Yeah.
but always be thinking about that.
Yes, definitely. And I also want everybody to know that even though you appoint your son now as power of attorney, you can revoke that. It's not forever. It's not once you do it. And same with a will. You can always change your will. You can amend it. It's not written in stone.
Yeah.
The only way it would be written in stone would be if with a will. Once you die, it's written in stone. But with a power of attorney, unless and until you become incompetent,
Okay.
it's up for changing. You can change it.
Okay. And that is extremely important information.
Yeah.
And I think that that's maybe also something that may have people don't recognize or realize, that you get into it a little bit and you're like, this isn't working, and you still have your faculties.
Mm-hmm.
You can make that change.
So the other one about power of attorney, we talk about it in the context as if, like, for the elderly, someone
Mm-hmm.
getting sick, older, unable to get out of the house, whatever it might be.
Right.
But right now, it becomes very relevant with graduation
Okay.
and kids going off to college. Parents, your children are adults. They're 18 years old. And if something happens at school, guess what? You no longer have that right as a parent to have any say in anything going on. Like, if your child is, I don't know, God forbid, in an accident while at school,
Right.
you don't get any information. Because they're an adult.
Yeah.
I strongly encourage anybody whose children are going out, going off to college, to think about doing a power of attorney for them.
That's really interesting. Not something I would never have thought about.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. Yeah.
Yeah. So
because
that's
that way,
that's a Wendy O'Brien life lesson right there.
Yes, it is. I have a child in college, so.
Okay. So and I mean, without being too personal, is that something that you did?
Yeah. So
Okay.
it makes sense. I mean, if he
That way
well,
you're
plus
able to help
Mm-hmm.
protect him.
and he loses his debit card. I think my son has lost it twice now in college.
Yeah.
I can go to the bank for him, help him get all that
Yes.
figured out.
You have a lot more ability to be able to be that safety net that you want to still be.
Yeah, and if you don't have power of attorney, or you're not on his account or their account, you're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So think about it.
So one other term that we hear, living will or advance directive.
Yes.
What do we mean by those things, and what do they do?
Okay, so, accidents happen every day, unfortunately. And sometimes when you don't have, or you haven't had that discussion with your family, if I'm in a terminal condition that I'm basically, for lack of better words, a vegetable, and I'm never going to come out of it,
Yeah.
I don't want to live on life support. I don't want to live on life support.
Yeah.
Please take me off of it and let
Right.
me. But do you know how hard that decision is to make
Oh.
for your loved ones?
Especially if you don't know.
Yes. So and this one hits home because my mom had, she out of the blue got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And the doctor told us she's going to live for about 6 months. My father, they were still married, and so he was there, and my sister. It's just the two of us. So the three of us, and the doctor basically gave us a choice. What are we going to do here? And we're all looking at each other like, you don't expect this.
No.
It's not something that you talk about at the dinner table.
Correct.
And she didn't have an advance directive, and I really saw firsthand where that situation could go so bad.
Yes.
Because we talked it out, and we all decided my mother would not want to live like that.
Right.
So we ultimately did remove the life support, but it was a unanimous decision.
Yeah.
Had it not been a unanimous decision,
Would have been worse.
I mean,
Still was a tough situation,
Yeah.
but that could have made it.
my dad would have made the choice, and if it were against myself or my sister,
You would have.
we probably always would have had that grudge against him for doing it or not
And he
doing it.
would have had
or either
the
way.
internal anguish of having to do it.
Not easy. Not an
No.
easy place for your loved ones.
Yeah, so it's a very important thing to have
It is.
mapped out,
It
ready
is.
to go.
And some people feel strongly that they want to be on life support for a period of time.
And I think that's completely reasonable.
Understandable.
Yeah. If
7
you-
days, week,
Yeah,
4 days,
right.
48 hours.
I want to make sure
You
that
pick.
there's not something that can happen, or
Yeah.
depending on what the situation is too. And
Yeah.
you probably can get specific with those as well.
We do get very specific.
Yeah.
Do you want feeding tube? Do you want blood products? Do you,
Yeah.
a transfusion? Do you want,
I mean,
do you want antibiotics? Do you,
yeah, we can go. Go back to my grandfather when he got sick and was older and stuff too. He wanted everything right up until the very end because he just liked to be alive. That
Yeah.
was his thing.
Yes.
Now he knew there was a certain point where he wanted it to stop, but he did do a feeding tube, and he did continue to have some quality of life and visit with his grandkids and stuff after that. That was his call.
absolutely.
And so, yeah, I think that there's a pros and cons for
There
all
is.
of it, and stuff that you need to figure out as a family.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's just this one little piece of paper. It just makes it so much easier for your family.
Yeah.
I can't tell you enough, like how that just 15 minutes in our office, and it could change the future for your family.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well,
In anyone's office, doesn't have to be mine, but
It can be her. So it's Josh Krysak, Wendy O'Brien. A couple of things with Wendy and Josh every Thursday. We're here Wednesday today.
Yeah, thanks for finding us
Yeah,
today.
every Thursday from every month on the second Thursday from 3:15 to 4. We talk about all those topics that you might just not have all the information you need at your fingertips to kind of steer you in a direction or guide you to an attorney, maybe Proden O'Brien's law office if you need them. But we'll get to a couple other things right here. We got about 2 minutes left, so we got a couple of things.
So I saw that our Founders Day celebration's coming up this month.
Yes, and we're going to be there live.
Yeah, I figured you would. Yeah. So come down and say hi, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be there from 2 to 4. And, this has been a really good year. They did all the Marquis de Lafayette stuff, celebrating the 250th coming up. It's always a good time. We'd love to see you out there.
Come down and celebrate Uniontown.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is our hometown.
Yeah. And this is a
Yeah. The next one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we did it last time. It was Mother's Day. Do you remember?
I do.
So we're this weekend is Father's Day. Don't forget.
That's right.
Go and make sure all the dads out there have a gift.
Yeah, exactly. Like TJ, who just came back in the studio. He's a dad. So make sure Little Disaster and Big Disaster, that's his kids' nicknames.
Oh, geez.
Make sure you have gifts for dad. And then graduation.
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone, a lot of graduation parties going on right now. It's wedding season. We're getting started into the picnics and parties and reunions. Please be careful. Have a designated driver.
Yes.
We don't want to be here talking about DUIs and
No.
anything like that. Let's be careful out on the roadways and educate our kids. Get them rides. We live in an age where Uber's at your fingertips.
Right. Have fun, but be responsible.
Yes, definitely. Have a great time.
Before we end, though, you got to hold those.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. What is that style called? What is that?
I call these my Italy nails.
That's what I'm talking about. Those look so good. You always have great nails.
Italy nails.
So I had a great time with you again this week.
Me too. This is our third one, right?
Third one. We're rocking and rolling, so I hope you have a great vacation, and we'll get back together next month.
Yeah, thanks for talking a couple of things.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
You're listening to WMBS Uniontown at 4 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Brian Wilson has died. He was the founding